Welcome to Wiretapped Truths. My name is Jesse Perez. I'm joined by Mr. Wiretapped Truths Leland, resident comedian Jack Simmons, and today a very special guest we have with us, the costume designer assistant costume designer. I think is the proper title, right?
Yep.
For The Wire, greatest show ever, Miss Amanda Johnson. So Amanda, out of 13 interviews, you're our second lady interview with
I love that.
Yeah.
And let me guess, Miss Donna was the first.
Miss
She
Donna.
was. She
Miss Donna.
Miss Donna has been named
Yeah.
the executive producer of our podcast.
She broke the glass ceiling for
Yeah.
women on this podcast, and we need more women. It's too much of a sausage fest so far. Yeah.
Well, I can always hook you up. You probably should do some hair and makeup. And
Wow.
I know who's been on and just kind of watching. The scenic painters. There's some really interesting, like, as there's definitely a whole system to how set works
Mhm.
and set life. And um I guess I have some feelings around that,
Tell us.
I'll just start off. I'm originally from Baltimore.
Okay.
I grew up in downtown Baltimore. I moved a bunch of different places, but my where I can consider my stomping ground is like Mount Vernon area. I went to Grace and St. Peter's, was just like a cool little school on Park Avenue, and then I ended up going to St. Paul's private school where I hated and they hated me. Um, for 2 years. I mean, it was like the worst 2 years of my life. I had to go somewhere. And then I always knew I was going to end up back at School for the Arts.
Mhm.
So I ended up back at School for the Arts. And I know you guys, I don't know if you know, I was in high school with like Tupac Shakur and Jada Pinkett
Oh, wow.
Smith.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had like that school has just produced, and some of the actors, the younger actors, when we did the season all in the school system,
Mhm.
we got a lot of Baltimore School for the Arts kids that were like extras, and I think a couple day players too.
Okay.
Brandon, but there was a kid named Brandon, I think, who came from School for the Arts. Anyway, I when I graduated, I went to college in Boston, and I went to school for painting. I stayed in Boston for a really good like 6 years, and reality hit, and I was like, I was working retail, and all my family and all my friends worked on Homicide, Life on the Street.
Oh,
I'm sure
wow.
I'm sure you've heard there's a lot of crossover.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And I would always, and like I had a huge contingency of like family and friends who worked on John Waters films.
Mhm.
So, and growing up with John Waters, like film was always a part of the conversation. But I have to tell you, I was never interested in film. Maybe because I would see like my best girlfriend, Brooke Yaton, who played White Mike,
Mhm.
is her brother.
Oh, wow.
He's somebody, you guys. I mean, I'm like kind of enmeshed in it. It's
Mhm.
um like I saw the hours they worked. I wasn't interested in it, didn't seem fun to me, you know.
What
And
were
so
you
when
interested in?
when I moved back to Baltimore, I was like, I need to get a job. And my girlfriend, there was a position for the assistant costume designer of Homicide, Life on the Street, and the designer's name is Tina Nigro.
Mhm.
And she basically was a brave woman, and she took me under her wing, and she taught me every single thing that she could teach me. I
About
mean,
costume design.
about costumes. I learned about, which is a huge part of The Wire. I learned about the cops, all the police officers,
Mhm.
all of the proper hat. They call it scrambled eggs. You
Mhm.
know that Lance Rhetoric, like they all wore, if not the real thing, which I would always be going to the quartermaster to borrow, um, or we rented the costumes, and we just really David Simon was very adamant that the cops and the officers and the lieutenants really needed to feel and look like real police officers.
That's
So,
and you know, Amanda, I don't know how to contrast. Like, if looking at it, like, okay, this doesn't look like a real cop, or this doesn't look like a real cop shirt, or kind of thing. That's interesting.
I can tell you right now, I mean, most officers keep their dress uniforms looking tip top, right? I can tell, like, you know how you can tell, look at the pants leg, which you won't see.
Right.
We see. I can always tell, like, when we've had an extra who came in who's too tall and we don't have the right pants, they'd be like an inch too short, you know.
Wow.
Most officers are gonna buy the right size,
Right.
You can, I can just tell, like, there's a line down the sleeve, which sometimes can come from pressing, but like the people on the truck, Donna costumes, like the dressers, the costume dressers always make sure that stuff is steamed. And unless, like, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people just have no idea. And there's a team, and I worked, and I shouldn't go on any further without saying this. My boss on the wire was Alonzo, and Alonzo and I, like, were for the whole, like, for all of it, right? Like, we were together. That is, like, he was the leader, he was an amazing costume designer, because I think what Alonzo's gift is being able to read the script and to interpret a vision that was cohesive with the character and also cohesive with Baltimore, and worked with David Simon and Ed Burns, like, worked with the story. He was a visionary in that way.
Definitely, though, because he's not from Baltimore. Like,
and I think he did an amazing job of, like, I think to be a good designer, you have to be a really good observer. I think you have to notice all the little details. And just, I can't say enough about him. He really was an amazing, strong leader. And I also learned a tremendous amount from him. I brought distressing and teching with me. So what I learned from Tina is I learned how to dye. I learned how to make, I mean, we had a lot of homeless on Homicide, and that crossed over into the wire. And those are the jobs that people think, like, they don't think about when they think about, oh, you're the assistant costume designer, or you work on wardrobe on the wire, and you're like on the back of a truck, you're shooting a scene in a couple hours, you spent all night up dying, just and aging and distressing. Your hands are a wreck. You know what I mean? You're covered in movie set dirt. And not only do you have to make one, right? You have to make 5. It's shot out of context.
Like those 12-hour days too. It's just, it's so long, and every single day too. It's yeah, absolutely.
So it was 12-hour days for on set. For those of us that didn't work on set, you had to be there 2 hours. I had 14-hour days.
Okay.
Wow.
Because you got to be, like, whatever needed to be on the truck in the morning, I would bring before, and then I would go to the truck at the end of the day and take off dirty laundry, and then reset the truck every morning and every day. And the interesting thing is, people didn't see me. Like, people didn't see me on set because I was kind of happily in the background. Um, I was responsible.
Alonzo kind of said the same thing too.
He did.
I mean, he
That's
kind of, when we asked him like, do you have any like personal moments, and just in reference to our other interviewees, he was the only one that was pretty much like, yeah, I kind of wasn't really interacting with the audience like that. He's the only, other than you now, I mean, but he's the only one that was kind of like, yeah, I don't really have a lot of moments with the actors, like other than
well,
work.
we asked him, Leland,
And bless you, Jack.
we asked him to
bless you, Jack.
Made sure to
we asked him to about Michael K. Williams, any memories with Michael K. Williams, and he said, well, I didn't really have like a lot of, he says, I got a couple of memories, but I didn't really get to spend that much time with the actors because I'm costuming like 200 people, you know, so it's like you guys are in your own world there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did in this really other way, which is when The Wire was being shot. Like, I mean, when I tell you guys, I mean, I was a party girl. There is no amount of stories or explanations that I could give you all to just tell you. You're gonna have to take my word for it. So every weekend
we call that our wild pass here.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I went to Georgia Southern. I don't know if y'all have if you all know what Georgia Southern is here in Georgia, but you know.
Y'all crazy. All I know is y'all crazy. So here's the thing. While we were working 14 and 16-hour days, every Wednesday or every Thursday, I did it for like 3 or 4 years. I would throw a party in Baltimore. And I had a DJ, Teddy Douglas, who was in the Basement Boys. I would have either him as the DJ or I would have guest DJs. I was throwing these wild house music parties
every week.
I miss those days.
And the irony of the whole thing is that I was literally cracked out. I mean, I was on speed. I mean, between, you know, I'm 17 years sober.
Congrats. Wow. Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. And it was, so if you ask me if I got to know any of the actors, most definitely. You know, I'm not so sure how much of that I want to disclose on this. But
I understand.
Respect.
I will just tell you that Michael and I had a special relationship with him. He saw me, you know, he and I had a love affair with clothing. And that's really like, I'm not a stylist, but I'm an observer of streetwear and of fashion. And I'm very much, I still to this day, even though I don't do it, I'm very current, you know.
Clearly.
I see what's going on. And Michael, when I first met Michael, I was like, he and I just like were like two flames. I mean, and we just like, he was like, have you heard of this one designer? And have you heard of this designer? He's the first person who ever introduced me to Ed Hardy.
Wow.
And Ed Hardy in the beginning was nobody. Like, and he was like, let me give you my dude's number in LA. What do you think if I wore some Ed Hardy on the show? And that's before it got like really broed out. I mean, the white boys took over Ed Hardy, but really, I mean, it came from a tattoo. It's from tattoo. It's a tattoo world.
It's very in your face too.
That's a lot of like styles too. I feel like it starts off where it becomes very popular, very cool, and then it's just like some people just kind of ruin it and give it a negative connotation. That definitely happened with Ed Hardy. I remember,
Those
like,
are some of the dopest hats. I mean, I'm a big hat person. Those are
yeah.
some of the coolest hats that I have ever seen. Are those freaking Ed Hardy hats? Now that we're seeing talking about it out loud, I loved those hats.
So Omar, we had a few of those hats in his closet. Like,
Mhm.
so the crazy thing is, I don't even, it just happened, right? Like, I became um the I got all the what do you call it, product placement, but
Mm.
I never intended to be like, I'm gonna be the head bitch in charge with the product placement. It just was like, I saw an opportunity. Alonzo trusted me.
Mhm.
Not only did he trust me, but I was also talking to Dewan, who is Snot Boogie.
Somebody.
Um, Dewan and were also really tight. I'm a people, like, I love people, and I
Mhm.
love, if there's a connection, I want to have a discussion about the fashion. I want to talk about why they're wearing what they're wearing. Um, remember when it was all the 3 and 4X white t-shirts?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
that was kind of a dream, because you could just put that on everybody, you
Yeah.
know? And then, the reason behind that is because if everybody's in, you're doing something, shady, or if everybody's in the same 4X white t-shirt or 4X black t-shirt, you're like, oh yeah, he had a 4X white t-shirt on. And you're
Well, so
like,
does everybody.
everybody does,
Yeah.
Wasn't there a
Like
while when
a hoodie.
wasn't there a while in the hood when everybody was wearing pink? I mean, like
I'm
a
telling you, they still wearing
Cameron had,
pink. They still wearing pink.
Well, that's definitely a Cameron, New
yeah,
York
Cameron had the hood wearing pink. I know
thing.
that for a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, that was definitely a
I
thing
didn't know
for
that was a trend though. You know what's coming back is short sleeve over long sleeve shirts. I keep
Uh,
seeing those. That's like a new thing that's trends come back, after like 10 years or something or
That's a very California look. That's
yeah,
very Latin, like, inspired, and I kind of
semi
like that.
preppy. Yeah. There are some characters too that I noticed were dressed like that. Where for instance in season 4 and 5, one of Marlowe's guys, and Jessica and Leland could probably help me out here. He was the dude and he wore like a bucket hat and
fruit,
yeah, was
fruit.
it
Yeah.
fruit.
fruit? Yeah,
Yep.
the way he was dressed was like very like California preppy hipster almost, and I always liked that there was certain characters that just had a very specific look that they didn't like blend it. They almost just like stood out that
You know
way.
what's funny about that, Jack? It's funny you say that because in a scene like the end of season 3, I think Cuddy rolls up on them and Fruit takes his hat off
Uh-huh.
because he's like, Cuddy let him live a few episodes ago, and he sees him and he's kind of has his head down, but then he takes his bucket off.
Yeah,
Like,
I
so it's
understand you.
that little catch right there
Yeah.
that you just said that's spot on because the bucket
Yeah.
hat was symbolic to Fruit. He
Mm.
always had that damn hat on.
But yeah, no,
Well,
that's sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
no, no, no. I mean, you all are. First of all, I'm so honored, by the way, just to say, to be asked by you guys. You are all so knowledgeable of all the details. I'm like in awe.
Oh, I real quick, I want you to
Thank
say,
you.
like,
Don't get
when I
upset.
spoke to you, the pitch that Miss Donna gave you, because you were like, I remember you were like, Donna told you, oh, you got to go on this podcast and stuff.
Donna was like, "You got to do it." I actually just got off the phone with her just now.
Oh
I was
wow.
like, I mean, Donna and I are. I mean, we're just gonna be friends forever.
That
Mm.
You
woman,
know.
Miss Amanda, let me tell you something. That is one of the sweetest people, not just women. And you too, you have a very outgoing, giving spirit to us. That'll make people, if you're having a bad day, you will like, both of you all or somebody be like, okay, let me call Amanda. Let me just see what she's doing. My mom calls it happy sprinkles. Like, people look to certain people for, to help them kind of
Mm.
thing, with their spirit. So Miss Donna she's a
100%.
phenomenal
She got
spirit
her days. She got her
person.
days. But I will tell you, during COVID and during this last shit show
The strike.
politics and the
Yeah.
strike, like, but really, when there's some hard questions that we all were asking. And, you know, I am a white woman, Donna is a black woman. And I mean, we just really were very real. When the riots and George Floyd, and when all of that was going on, she was somebody who we just bounce stuff off of each other. And um she is one of the realest. Like, there are not a lot of people in my life I can call up and, you know I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so sorry. And I mean,
Yeah.
she was like, not a lot of people have picked up the phone and just said that,
Yeah. Wow. So
and
that's
At the
real. That's
time.
a real moment right there. Wow.
I
Did you get?
mean, it's I tell people this, and I have chills when I think about it. I tell people that working on the wire like makes me a better voter.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
not that there's a competition for being a better or worse voter, but maybe a more educated voter for like and being from Baltimore, it's
mhm.
like I actually know. I mean, I it is not my life, but I did live in my own way. My life was the wire in the fact that there was a fine line. I mean, I was no different than the crackheads we were shooting and telling stories about.
Yeah.
It's just I'm a privileged white woman, and
Right.
my life didn't wasn't on the streets,
Hmm.
but my my drug addiction was took me to dark places,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
I I
That's
mean,
really deep.
so I just will say, like, even though we were behind the scenes, Alonzo and I worked and did our absolute best to make sure that Donna and the actors had everything that they needed to act in a way that they were their best acting selves and
Mm,
characters.
wow.
If that So everybody had a closet,
Mhm.
I have some favorites. I mean, I would look at, was it Complex magazine?
Probably.
Um I would just look through magazines. I'd drive through the streets. I'd literally pull over and stop people and be like, what are you wearing?
Wow.
And then I just pick up the phone and cold call. So I cold called LRG.
Hmm.
And we Marlo wore mostly LRG.
He did. Damn.
Um, I cold called Russell Simmons, which is
So that's
crazy.
Fat Farm
Now LRG,
episode.
like I of course know what LRG is, but like some of the other idiots might not know. So like for the sake of arguments, what is LRG? Would you say?
So it's Lifted Resource Group,
Okay.
and they were a brand that was a New York brand, right?
I think
Okay.
so.
And a lot of skaters also wore LRG, but we they made everybody was making, there got to be this thing where a lot of people
There was
were
also Shady Limited, right? Wasn't Shady Limited in there? I
I
think it
don't
was
know
in the
that.
shooting scene. Yeah, the
Is
Eminem
that what it
clothing line. I
Okay.
thought Snoop was
Well,
wearing a Shady Limited shirt. Yeah.
Shady
Shady Limit. Yes,
Limited.
Shady Limited. Um, you know, my fascination started way back when, at the brand called Mecca. Do you guys
Hmm.
remember Mecca?
Oh
I
yeah.
used to
Of
love
course.
Mecca.
Oh yeah, of course.
Um, and I would wear it. You know what I mean? I would just, wear these. I was like this goth slash street, which I kind of still am. Um, but I'd be like, this looks like something this character would wear. And
Hmm.
so I would get as much of it as I could, right?
Hmm.
And I'd be like, Alonzo, and he and I just like, he would do his characters and all the build their wardrobe, and I'd be like, he'd come to me and say, what do you got for? And I'd be like, I got this, and because I was reading the scripts too, and he
Mhm.
would be like, all right, I think this is it. And then we'd have a fitting, and then the actor would really, you'd see what they would settle into. And we always made sure that there was continuity. Like,
Right.
if an actor was going to wear LRG, they were going to be a buyer of LRG. They weren't going to be so much like this and that and this and that. You know, it would be like mostly, and then
Yeah.
like some basic pieces in there. I'm trying to think. I went to New York to meet Russell Simmons, which was
Oh wow.
crazy.
That's
He
awesome.
called, he invited Alonzo and myself, and Alonzo was like, I'm too busy, I don't want to go. And I'll never forget like getting on a train, going to meet him. He
What
gave
was the
me
event
this,
that you guys met through? Was it like a specific event or something, or
he just had me come to the office and he
cool?
shook my hand, and he gave me, like, back then, like, there weren't iPhones yet, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? He gave
Nope.
me some tricked out little video camera, which I still have.
Those little
um
camcorders.
yes,
Very
yes,
cool.
and it was like some crazy thing, and it still works. um
So Amanda,
I
were
still have
you
one of
cold
those.
calling them for essentially and let them know like, hey, look, I'm assistant costume designer here on the wire. We would like to play some of your product.
yeah,
Okay.
so we would have to get sign off. So we would have to have, we'd have to have a contract signed that said from them and us, that
Mm-hmm.
was like, and there are certain people who didn't do it. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, once in the beginning, it was a lot harder than it was by season 2 or 3.
Because
Right.
it was
So Mr.
popular now.
Wolfson said that there was one brand that told you no, I don't want drug dealers. So it's warned in the pilot and never again. Who was that brand?
I think it was Echo.
Oh yeah, it can't be Echo though, because doesn't Frog wear Echo?
Frog. I don't know.
When
I
he's
don't know.
when Frog is talking to Nikki in the blue sweatsuit, that's an Echo sweatsuit.
It is.
I think
And
you're right.
what season
Season
is that?
two. Season
Season
two.
2.
I'm just
I think you're
trying.
right. I think you're right.
It's an
I
Echo,
think you're right.
yeah. It's an Echo sweatsuit because I think I just saw a meme on it like, look at Frog wearing Echo, and or something, and it was right after the
What
like when I was coming.
was we and Jesse? We talked about it since we interviewed Alonzo. We need to
Yeah,
rewatch that first episode.
we
We
can't
just
figure
haven't
it
had
out.
time to do it, but because he said that there's something in that episode. There's a brand, and he was like, that was the only episode that it was in. We didn't use it on any other episode for the whole 5 seasons, other than the pilot,
Timberland? Would it be
Nah,
Timberland?
nah, definitely not Timberland because
because
Mike
Says
not Michael Michael B.
Poot
Jordan.
says to Wallace
Yeah,
about the
Wallace.
boots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
comes
Yeah.
back. I don't think it's Timberland.
No, it's
We're gonna have
definitely
to
not
find it
Timberland.
out. We're gonna have to find it out, Jesse.
I'm
We're gonna
gonna
have
end
to.
up rewatching it all, and then I'll figure it out. I just call Alonzo and be like, "What in the hell is it?"
No, don't do that because we want to make it seem like we're doing our homework.
I know. That's good.
That's true.
That's good. He would give you homework. He's so funny.
He kind of
You
he
know.
kind of told us this story of I'm sorry to cut you off real
Go
quick,
ahead.
but
Go
he
ahead.
kind of said like the story of like, you know, when he went into like his first day, he met Perry, and they're like, he's like, I'm gonna go check out the neighborhood, and they were like, you're not going out there by yourself, you know, Mr. Perry's gonna have to walk you, and he at first he was like a little like, why does somebody have to walk me? And then he realized he's in the middle of the hood, right? And it was like, so it was like better that somebody walked him. So I guess you're from Baltimore already though, but was there any culture shock to you like in there or where you were
Probably
shooting,
not
or
at
you knew
that
that?
time. By the time you're working on the wire, if you're from Baltimore, like
Yeah,
probably
I
not.
yeah.
mean, I will say this. Sorry, I have a big train that comes by from moment to moment. Was there a culture shock? I mean, when we shot, I think the most shocking. I always know, like, the most like heartbreaking and just is when we shot the whole season about the kids in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To me, that season was the most heartbreaking
That's the best season,
because
hands down.
I mean, because I actually saw kids pirating electricity. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? You see these houses that are just boarded up, and then you'll see a lift, and then you'll see somebody scoot out,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, wait, people are living in there.
People live in
Kids
the
are
house.
living in there.
They have no like chance, or like hope for, it's rare. Like at the end, there's one kid who's successful, Naaman, who
Name 'em.
gets out, but it's like that's the exception rather than the rule, unfortunately.
And
Uh,
it's tough, Jack. Looking at some of really not some of all of those kids, their stories. Like when you look at where they all ended, even
yeah.
down to Kennard. Like
Huh.
he went to jail for killing Omar. It's those the kids' seasons. I mean, I think that's why people look at it and revere it so much because the kids are carrying the season, and some
Right.
of those
It's
stories
powerful.
are devastating. Like
Oh yeah.
even small scenes like when Naaman's mom closes the door on Dookie. Like stuff like that is heartbreaking. You like, damn,
Let let
he
let me ask
13.
Amanda. Let me ask Amanda because she's closer to the whole project. So do we get that season where four boys carry a season instead of McNulty if McNulty doesn't have to shoot a movie? Because wasn't that Dominic West had to shoot a movie, I believe, and that's kind of why he was limited time. Do you remember any of that?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I vaguely remember he wasn't available.
Wow.
right.
You know what the
So
movie was? Was it
wasn't it
300?
300? Wasn't it 300? I think I'm not sure. I think it might have been 300, but I think
Yeah,
there was
because
like
it'll
a
be a
movie or something
Spartan.
he was shooting. But does
Imagine him just coming back from like the set of 300, like he's
Good.
supposed to be a
I'm sorry.
cop. He's dressed like a Spartan. He's like, wait a second, I'm in the wrong costume right now.
That's
Yeah,
Super
quite a flip.
yeah,
Super
exactly.
McNulty. He did look a
Just
little bit more cut in season 4 too.
or after
Maybe it was the uniform.
after
Maybe.
fighting
that?
all those Persians, man, he's working out. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, do you know if there would have been like a different aspect of season 4 or
That stuff, I mean, I'm just gonna, I miss that kind of stuff just because we're like in the trenches, you know what
Right.
I mean? Another season which was just an ass kicker for the crew was when we went into the Greeks.
Yeah,
Season
I can
2.
yeah,
That's where
imagine.
we're at right now.
we just had
I
Teddy
mean,
Kanaz
What
on
made
who
it in
played Double G.
particular like
it
so
was winter
yeah, that's a
and they
dead of
shot
winter.
all outside on those on the boat,
Here.
Right in the
you
water
know,
makes it even colder.
on
Yeah.
the pier. It was a lot of night shoots. It was a hard, I think we had just maybe moved. I mean, we also had to like break down and rebuild our sets a couple times. I
Okay.
mean, we went from one part of town out to Columbia. So, it just
Oh
was
wow.
it there was a lot of driving for
Yeah.
everybody, and it just was. Here's the other thing people don't talk about is that even though there's a script, right?
Mhm.
We would get scripts a day before sometimes.
Oh wow.
Like
Before you
because
shoot.
because people are rewriting and getting clearance, and there's a whole team who's working on writing,
Hmm.
and they might get us a script the day that, I mean, I remember getting it like a day before, and we literally like were like Alonzo is like reading scripts, trying to figure out the actor breakdown. And then we've got like major day players who are like traveling in from New York or Los
Hmm.
Angeles. And you just pray that they're going to put them at the end of the shoot as opposed to the first couple days, because he's got to read the script. We've got to read the script. We got to figure out what is required. Like, is this a suit? Is this plain? Is this like, what is this? How many scenes are they in? And what size? Like, that's the other part. I mean, I would call these people and I'd be great. I need your height, waist, dress size, shoe size,
Wow.
and you pray that they're telling you the right thing, right?
Mm,
I mean, how many times you think you're a 34 waist, but you know you're a 38? You know what I
right.
mean? Like,
Sometimes they don't even know too. They'll think
Facts.
you're another size, and it's like, no, you're not. I'm like, what? Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
and we're
I'm
like,
horrible when people ask me my suit size. I'm horrible at that. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Same.
I'm like, I gotta look at my suit.
let me tell you, if a costume department, do yourself a favor and get your suit size before. It helps
Okay.
so much. So then you're like, all right, well, now this is Alonzo and I all the time. Let's go. Let's get in the car. Let's go to Nordstrom's sometimes, or let's go to the street to, wherever we needed to shop. And we would just buy as much as you possibly can buy that, and you have to buy, like, especially shirts, you got to buy five, you
Right.
know what I mean? And so you buy as much as you can, you have a fitting with them that afternoon, then you have to prep it, wash it, get it ready, load it on the truck so that it can be worn the next day. And let's say a producer or a writer is like, I don't like that, or what, let's say an actor decides that's not what they want to wear, then you've got to have backup, and then you've got all those clothes that you got to return. It's just, it is, when Nordstrom saw us coming,
They'd be
they'd
like,
be
"Oh
like,
shit."
Right.
yay,
It is
um
true what you said though, because it's like, I mean, about in terms of like you and Alonzo did, it's like such a great job with the costumes, because it's like talking about the police uniforms, for instance, like you can tell. I've seen some like movies. I've even been in a couple of short films where you're wearing a police suit that it's clear they got it from like Party City or something, where it's obviously
yes,
like a Halloween costume. And like for the Wire, it never looks that way.
No.
It looks like it's been worn already, and I think that's one thing that I feel like a great costume designer realizes, that a suit isn't supposed to look brand new. It's supposed to look kind of like somebody's worn it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Most people don't dress up like, you know. Perfectly, they dress up in clothes that have been sort of like ragged or all over the place, you know.
and
Um,
So
then you've got like props who has to make sure that all your badges, all your hardware, your gun, your this, your that, like your patches on your jackets. I mean, and that's the other thing. Like, you have your sleeve patches, right? And then you have to have your jacket patches, which have to match your sleeve. I mean, it's just like, and then there's the continuity, which was amazing, is that most people don't think about continuity
mhm.
until it's bad. And once
Yeah.
it's bad, once somebody's shirt collar is out and then the next scene it's in, or, and I have to give it a lot of credit to our costumers on the show, because I didn't, like, there's very few spots where I was like, because what it does is it robs the actor of the scene.
Hmm. Oh
You
yeah, no
know,
one's paying attention to their performance or focus on like, why is this guy wearing this thing or anything, you know, or even like you're talking about like some of the risks, like maybe an actor accidentally messes up the shirt or something,
yes.
or it, like rains, or there's just so much that could go wrong. It's there's so much to account for.
I can tell you who you'll get some really interesting personal stories from is hair and makeup.
Okay,
Mm.
for sure.
we actually have Miss Debbie coming on next week.
Debbie
So
is,
any questions we throw her way? Any
I
specific
mean,
one?
you're gonna get, I mean, first of all, Debbie is an angel. She, you'll hear it. She really was in a lot of ways. She's very, and I don't know if she would appreciate this or not, but she's very motherly. She
Aw.
very much is kind of this spiritual, beautiful human who, and I think that's a really good quality to have when you're in someone's face and you're doing their makeup, and they're you she's like, and her team are the last person other than hair and getting mic'd that is going to see your actor before they hit the set. And so having that just an ability to calm people down and to bring out their best in them
Mm.
is a real gift.
Mm.
Um, and Debbie, I'm very happy that she's going to come on the show and interview, because I think Debbie, just in herself, will have amazing insight about the show and about the
So
actors.
I have a
Oh yeah.
question, right? Like back in like 02, 03, I wanted to be an actor once upon a time. And I went on like Craigslist would have these auditions. My father was at NYPD, so he had so he had an extra uniform I could wear, and like they'll like be like on Craigslist, you always see casting, and if I had like a real NYPD uniform, right, they're like, and my dad was like, yeah, you can wear it, just don't show the badge number, right, and
Yep.
I was like, oh, cool. So they will always be the ones that pay me. Like I did like a music video that came out in Japan for like $300. I never got to see that video. I always, but like, and I always got like, or like these student films will always be paying like 150 for because they wanted the real uniform. Did you guys ever
Oh.
like, yeah? So did you guys ever go that route, like Craigslist, Baltimore police uniform, or something like that?
If we rented, it would be from like um, Manhattan Wardrobe Supply or CRC, which I think is a company in Los Angeles. And I have a question for you. So Jesse, what was that like growing up with your father as a police officer in New York City?
It was. I mean, he was a police officer on Jamaica Ave, which is a pretty bad neighborhood. So
Yeah,
you
I
kind
know
of
where that is.
you were like worried about him, but and then so I'm 4 years sober myself, right? So
Congratulations.
thank you. So I'll say this on my qualifications though. I was like, I guess my father was pretty strict, but it was really hard for me to really know how strict he was because I was a good kid. Like I didn't even drink till I was 20, So I picked up at 20, and then it kind of like took a life of its own, and what mistakes were made, and I ended up in the rooms. But you know, so like he was kind of strict, and but I would say for me I was a good kid, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of like answer that question because I really like the most I did was cut school, and even that was in 12th grade. I took a while to cut class,
You were
so
a good kid.
I was a good
You a
kid.
good boy.
You cut
Yeah, yeah,
class? What?
I really was, like that was like the most, so yeah, it's funny. It's funny when I say that in qualifications too. Like that, the only response because mostly in the rooms, and you might know this too. I don't know if you go to meetings or like you
I'm
would
in the
hear
rooms.
most of the people start like at 13 or 14. That's like that seems to be the common age for the rooms. So it's funny when I tell that qualification. I was like, I don't know how. I was a good kid. I don't know what it is. Get in
Not
trouble.
later on.
So I'll share a vulnerable story here, if you guys want. So I was like
Let's hear it.
21. I was 21. I was drinking and driving, and I got pulled over by the cops, and they were like, I was like, oh, my father's a cop, so that's something. It got me out of trouble. It did get me out of trouble a lot. So, but I was never in trouble before that, right? So then they're like, so do you want me to call your dad, or do you want to get arrested? And I'm like
Take me to
drunk.
jail.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, take me to jail. I did. And but who would I call if I was in jail? So,
You gonna call your dad?
He's gonna find
right?
out,
So
right?
right?
Yeah.
So like what are you thinking? But I'm drunk, right? So then I'm sitting there on the sidewalk with handcuffs on, and my dad's ex-partner comes and sees me, and then he takes me home, and he goes, I know that guy because he transferred from NYPD to Nassau PD. I live in Long Island, and he's like, I know him. He was like, who's your father? And I say his name, and he's like, I know this guy. He's coming home with me, and he took me home, and
Wow.
I got off with that. And but that just shows you how little like I got in trouble growing up. That I'm like, I think I'll go to jail. So I'm just like,
Yeah. The
and
thought of the dad finding out is always the scariest things, and Police will use that too if they get you in trouble. They'll be like, "Well, we're gonna tell your parents," and then like, "Oh shit, all right." That's like the scarier thing.
So
And Jack, you had some questions for Miss Amanda too. We talked about earlier, I think.
Oh
I'm going
yeah,
to ask a question just of you guys. Sorry, I'm asking you
no,
questions,
no,
And
I
you're
but
the
love it.
first. You're one of the first that has put us on the interviewee hot chair. So we
we love
appreciate
it.
it.
We love it.
people are going to want to know. Like, I would love to know, like, if you could give me the essence of what you most love about the show from your heart, like why it speaks to you. I'd love to hear from all three of you if you'd like to just give me an answer,
That's a
Let's
let
do
great
it.
fucking question right there.
Right, it
That's
is. Go ahead,
fantastic.
Jack.
All right, all right. I'll start off. Well, uh, yeah. I think. Sorry, by the way, I'm coming down with like some like, allergies or anyway. I've watched the show about like 5 times or something, and I first watched it like when I was graduating high school, and I'm like a big movie and TV buff, like me. So I can relate. Like I was looking through your IMDb before I do a little research, and I saw you worked with like John Waters and um you were and so like I really loved the show growing up. But what I think like spoke to me was just what was saying about America during that time, and it was about more than just like the city. It was about these characters, and they felt very real and relatable. And all these characters I feel like are in pursuit of something more with their lives. They all have these ambitions that go beyond just their immediate lives. Like take McNulty, right? He's the protagonist. He wants his life, he wants more meaning, and he wants to be content with his life, which is what really everybody wants in the world.
Hmm.
And what The Wire was showing all these different people in a city that all kind of want the same peace of mind, but they all have their own systems that interplay with each other. And it kind of showed how we're all kind of like similar in that sense. And it was like about kind of the universal human experience, but also very specifically about this world that they lived in and grew up in. And that's kind of, for me, what kind of always made it just so rewatchable. So I'll start with that. Yeah.
okay.
Wow.
Well, Mr. Leland, what do you think, sir?
Well, I mean, as you know, I say every episode, I've probably seen this show, I don't know, 7 billion times. I mean, over the last 15 years, it's just never left the rotation of what I watch. Even when I watch new movies, binge watch shows, I've always watched The Wire. I mean, I've even started to try to write a book on it 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Like that's how much it's been in my life. And I just think rewatching it at different points in my life and then comparing it to present day, it always seems like some of the stuff they were talking about in The Wire still resonates present day. So that to me, I think is amazing. And I always feel like when I watch it, it seems like every line, every scene, everything is connected, no matter how small it might be, even down to the costume and stuff like that. Everything seems to be connected, and I think that to me has always resonated with me for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say kind of the same thing. I mean the fact that you have to pay attention to everything being connected. But for me, it was kind of like the first show where I saw this gray area of like, you know, the drug dealers. You like them. You like Avon. He's like, you like these speeches. You feel bad for D'Angelo. McNulty could be a womanizer. He could get away with he gets behind the wheel and he's blasted. Like he shouldn't be doing this, but so the cops do some bad things, the drug dealers do some good things, and they're just like it's just this gray area of life. They're just humans. They're just living
Yeah.
life. That's um and I think that was the first show that I kind of saw like that. Like I remember saying, like, are we supposed to like root for the drug dealers or sometimes some of the times? Because like sometimes you want Brody to beat the case, you know what I mean? And I was like, wow, this is awesome, this and then put the acting and dialogue that I don't think I've seen better dialogue in a show. I hands down it'll be The Wire. Maybe maybe Game of Thrones comes in a close second. I just saw Game of Thrones for like the first time a couple
I
times,
mean,
but
Breaking Bad,
but like The
maybe.
Wire was
Jesse?
like dialogue wise though, yeah, but The
Maybe.
Wire was definitely the first one that I really became obsessed with, and then like just the characters of like Omar and like McNulty, and I just got and I got it I really got taken to that whole universe of the Wire universe, and
Yeah.
I enjoy putting friends onto the show. I'm like, yo, you got to watch The Wire, and they'll be like, yo, this is the greatest thing I've ever watched, So
And
it's
just
it's
rewatching it
I
with you
remember when I
all.
first spoke to Amanda, she was like, "Are you from Baltimore?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "You're not? How are you such a big Wire fan?"
And you know what, Jess? I'm glad you asked that because that was actually my next question for Amanda. Growing up in Baltimore, and like Jack, like you said, it seems like everybody in the show is trying to reach for just more, in
Right.
life. Do you feel like growing up in Baltimore that, or just living in Baltimore or being raised in Baltimore, do you feel like the city as a whole can kind of set you back if you grow up in Baltimore? Like, do you feel like that? And I asked you that because we're breaking down. We own the city as well. We took a break, a little 5-week break from the Wire because we ended it right like at a midpoint of season 2. It's kind of like a season finale. So we're like, we're gonna break down We Own the City to finish the year, and just watching We Own the City and how corrupt the city was, the poverty, just seemed like a bunch of stuff in Baltimore is wrong. Like, is I guess is my question to you, Amanda. Do you feel like growing up in Baltimore can hinder you, or is that if you want to make it out, you can? Like, what are your thoughts on Baltimore as a whole?
Well, I think it's such a good question, really a great question. And I think the answer is the fact that speaking to you from Florida. Um, I can tell you, and I don't think this is true for everyone, but this
Mm-hmm.
is true for me. If I would have stayed in Baltimore, I would have died a drug addict.
Wow.
Mm.
Um, I 100%. I had to change everything to be able to 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 live my life, in the way I live it today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Baltimore, couldn't be more proud to be from Baltimore.
I
You
get
Right.
it.
bleed
I hear
Baltimore.
you.
You bleed Baltimore.
Yeah,
I
I hear it.
mean,
I hear it.
it's a city that I think it's a microcosm of so many different issues
Hmm.
that are played out in the country, but in a small city, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've ever been to Baltimore, it's also like cobblestones. It's architecturally beautiful.
Yeah.
And then in 2 blocks later, it's boarded up.
Yeah.
I
They've got
think
Night and
beautiful
day.
developments, real estate, high rise developments out there in Maryland, like in Baltimore, like
Well, because
beautiful
it's
structures out
night
there.
and day because it's like on the border of DC too. So you have
yes,
all those like
yes.
like politicians. Like there's definitely like the rich areas, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like the poor areas don't get focused on at all. Like
Which is, really the way our country runs.
yeah.
But I do think that Baltimore is in the middle of, I think because it is not a desirable necessarily place to live, I think it has become a mecca for artists.
Hmm.
I think it's still a very affordable city to live in and to buy something. And I think that I think the young Black community is going to save Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are small businesses. I think there are young families that are reinvesting in the city. I think that Baltimore is going to show one day is going to show everybody else how it's done. And I think Baltimore is it has always been a working collar, like
Yeah.
blue collar, whether it's Bethlehem Steel. I mean, that's another part of
Domino
this.
sugar.
another part of the story is that, and we talked, I mean, that was discussed in The Corner, which I think The Corner was an absolutely amazing, also David Simon, an amazing just accomplishment, and talked about what the crack epidemic did to the black families, to all families.
Mm-hmm.
But at first it took out the fathers, then
Yep.
it took out the mothers,
Yeah.
and then you've got kids who are raising themselves, and the only way out is to sell drugs, because that's that's how you're going to make a living.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's no option,
Oh,
and it's like there's that sense of like hopelessness. But I mean, David Simon's an interesting guy too, because the way, like, I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and and a lot of times he lets his opinions get known through the character's dialogue. Like, a
Yes.
character will speak and he'll be saying his opinions about the city, and you really know it's like David Simon's just right. That's what he
mhm,
thinks, you know. And some people I've seen criticisms of David Simon saying he's become like kind of cynical, but I actually don't. I think he's more of like a disappointed idealist where he
Oh,
actually
that's a
sees
good.
like potential for the city.
Yes.
He
Mm-hmm.
sees like solutions in play. The fact is though that the whole mechanics behind it has to change, and you have to really, like you said, actually invest real money and effort, not just like putting a band-aid over it. Um
It can't just be like it can't just be rich white people putting money into the city. It's got to be, I mean, it's got to be the community
Mm-hmm.
coming together to put sweat equity into the city, because I mean, we've got some amazing things that are happening, and like Revival is a beautiful old hotel that's very conscious of, like, you know taking people in off the streets, teaching them about how to work in a hotel. I mean, there's so many good things going for Baltimore,
mhm.
But that being, I just wanted to touch on what all three of you had brought up, is that I always have seen The Wire as an epic saga, like a Greek myth,
Mm.
just like the Iliad and the Odyssey, which
Damn.
was, you have a hero. There's always a hero to the story who departs to other lands and encounters, like journeys
Mhm.
and lessons, and it gets dark. I think life is incredibly hard,
Yeah,
for all of us in our own ways. And to
so beautiful at the same time, and
Yeah.
to fight for the light. And there's a scene, it's my favorite, and I have to bring this up.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I want you guys to know how important the director of photography is also to the shows.
mhm.
And I have a favorite director of photography, and her name was Uta, and she was a female.
Uda
And
Brinsewitz, right?
you can see, I think she was our best DP. Sorry, this might aggravate
mhm,
people. She had such a beautiful style, and the way things were lit, and like she did a lot of blurry to focus shots. And there is a scene where um um not Idris, but Wood Harrelson.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Hey, man.
Wood
Avon,
Harris.
Avon,
Avon is walking across the field
In
of
the jail.
it
in
is
jail.
my
Yeah,
favorite scene
It's a favorite of
that's
ever.
mine.
cool.
It's a favorite of mine. I
Yeah,
brought that up on our show too. It shows his power without
Yeah,
having to speak. I don't have to look left or right. You all are gonna stop this game though when I walk. Like it's such a beautifully shot scene. I love that scene. I love
It
that
is
scene.
so respectful in the angle of the camera, the timing,
mm,
mhm.
the light, that the
Yeah,
sun is hitting him. His do-rag strings aren't even tied.
No,
Like, they're swaying in the breeze. that is a hero shot.
Yeah,
It is. And
absolutely.
Jack and Jesse, they usually, when we
It
break
it,
down
rem-
our episodes, they'll point out
Yeah,
when we break
it
down our
reminded me a
episodes.
lot of like Reservoir Dogs when they're doing the walk, like through, and it has that like cool, like even the slow-mo texture of it all, and they play that song. It just, yeah, it's very much like, all right, here's our guys. They mean business.
Yeah.
I
But
think
to
a
think,
I think a cooler moment than that was the Avon, Stinkum, and Stringer
And
walking into
Stringer
the
in
pit
season 1.
for the first time, and they
Yeah,
slow down,
that
and
was
I,
cool too.
Howard.
Yeah,
the pit was definitely that sofa. I mean, there's
Sofa.
so many, but to think about it, to like for a DP to be like, okay, how am I going to show a hero while he's behind bars?
yeah,
Mhm.
Like, it's to think in the minds of each department, right? And the fact that every single department, whether it's paint, whether it's construction, whether it's locations, whether it's set dressing, whether it's props, whether like whatever it is, everybody brought their A game
yeah.
to that show, even though none of us had no idea that 25 years later, I'd be sitting in, you know what I mean, doing an interview with you all.
About it. Yeah, I think its
We,
impact is, I don't know. And as much as I love some of these other shows, like I'm a Power fanatic. I love Power. I love Breaking Bad. I love certain shows on Netflix like Top Boy, Ozarks, Netflix originals. I don't know if 25 years later, if we will still be talking about some of those shows.
Right.
Power, maybe, because there'll be like in 25 years, probably 10 shows attached to it because like a whole universe. But I don't know.
I've got
I
one for
don't know.
you, which you guys will be like, what? I think Lost is one of those shows.
Lost is
People
great.
people like Lost, they love it actually.
I
And I've
love
never seen
Lost.
it.
Yeah,
I've
you
never
know what
seen
I
it.
think is the problem. I don't know problems, right? But one thing that and our first interview, Julito agrees with us. We talked a little bit about is how the model for how television has changed a lot because it used to be a drama during the age of The Wire, The Sopranos, or Breaking Bad. They would have 13 episode seasons, and because
Mhm.
Yeah.
there are so many episodes per season, you got to know these characters more. And one of the other things about The Wire that we don't talk about enough about how the directors, they would let the actors like breathe. And
Mhm.
oftentimes after the dialogue is done, they would just kind of hold the shots to get the characters' reactions. Acting is all about reacting, and oftentimes it was about what the characters were and saying. And because I like that pacing of it, it feels more real. And nowadays, it's like a show is like 6 episodes, so you don't really have time to build up those characters as well. It's all about the plot. It's all about how do we get people back, because it's all about like Netflix is the worst example, right? Because they're like, we need to have like millions of views immediately in the first season,
Right.
otherwise we're
Right.
canceling the show right
Yeah.
away. So they're just like, we gotta get these plot points. But it's like, what about the like the plot isn't necessarily why The Wire has such a rewatchability. It's more just because it's more of a vibe.
Feels
Just
good.
kind of
Yeah.
feel like you're at home with these people, like they feel like real. And I think that's one of the reasons it has this like rewatchability is you're not necessarily watching it just to find out what happens. You're watching because you just enjoy being in this
And
world.
Jack, there's a show on, I want to say it's Prime, you all. It's called Cross. It's about this really intelligent cop. And it's a really good show. I mean, he's like super intelligent, loses his wife like early on, and she's murdered. And it's a phenomenal show. And Jack, it's like 8 episodes, I think, in the first
Yeah.
season. I think it's only 8 episodes, but it's
And-
a phenomenal show.
Oh
Like,
yeah, and some shows can do it. They can make great episodes. See, I'm just saying. I feel like I don't know a 13 episode or just like it gives more of a chance to really feel like unless you have it like perfectly mapped out like True Detective where it's like 8 great episodes. But otherwise, it just feels like I don't know. So I guess
and you-
you're talking about like why it has such rewatchability. I just feel like that's one of the reasons. Is it was like kind of the slow pacing of it all makes
yeah,
it.
and Amanda, Jesse, he'll swear up and down that season 5 is his least liked season, but he talks about it all the time.
But I was
He
bring up
always goes
great
back
scenes
to it.
from it.
But that's one of the reasons, like you just said, Jack, that season 5 for a lot of us diehard Wire fans. It's like,
Uh-huh.
well, how you give us 4 seasons of at least 12 episodes?
Right.
Some of them were 13. Yeah, season 5 is 10.
Well, it's
Like,
also, we were talking about political issues, and I was going to ask you this. Do you think, like, making an honest show about policing would be different today because of our political, well, like, because of the Trump administration, and especially the age of social media? Like, do you think it would be, like, difficult to make a really honest portrayal of policing? I mean,
and politics for that matter.
yeah.
I don't think you could do it.
Yeah.
I just think the world is, you know what? Have at it. Somebody get up in it.
And
You
try it.
know, I would love to.
Yeah.
It would have to be a documentary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. You know what? There's more to come. Like,
Right.
there's so many talented people out there who have something to say,
They could do it.
who could do it. And so I won't say that it can't be done. I just look forward to when it's done.
Yeah.
And
That's a
you know
great
what?
answer.
The truth will always rise.
Right.
You know what, man? I got another question for you. This is my last question to you. You've been just phenomenal. I feel like we could keep this interview going for hours. But
I love you all. I love getting.
my last question to you is just being a Baltimore native and kind of like what Jack just said, talking about shows in the present day and stuff like that. Do you think that? I guess I want to make sure I ask you this question correctly. Do you think that The Wire could air today in present day? Like if it was aired today in present day, do you think some of those topics that it touches on, do you think that it would still, that it could, like pretty much what Jack just asked, like, do you think that it could The Wire air today? I guess is my question. Like,
yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
There's people still discovering it today, you know.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And where I live, oh my God, where I live, people are like, wait, you worked on The Wire?
Yeah.
And they're like, and I'm like, and I'm from Baltimore. Like, and they're like, you know, because it's just got such a bad rap. But Jesse, go ahead. You were going to ask me, you're going to say something.
Okay, no, I got a few things here, but real quick,
Okay.
so I'll try to make them quickly. No, on our last, since you're from Baltimore, on our last recap, we were talking about where are the docks located? Where's this Poland neighborhood, the white neighborhood in season 2? Is it on the east side of Baltimore? Because that I thought it was on the east side because they know Prop Joe, they ran into Cheese. Where's the Poland side of Baltimore? Where is that exactly?
So
compared to where Avon and them.
I mean, from my, like, if you're going towards Greektown, so the way it is you've got the water, right? Everything runs, like, you've got a inner harbor, right? Inner harbor,
Bay, right?
And then you've got Locust Point, which is like over here, and then you come around, and then you've got like where all of the shipyards and the containers, and so the containers is like, so I think it goes Little Italy, Greektown, Poland, like the Polish neighborhood, and then you go out like to Dundalk and but you know what? I'm not a great with maps. This is just my crazy understanding of the way that.
That's pretty good off of memory. That was right. No, I've lived here my whole life. I couldn't tell you which street I'm next to.
Well, you just know because it's like when you want to, like, those neighborhoods used to be so much more pronounced,
right?
Then they, used to be able to go to Little Italy and have Italian food. Used to be able to go to Greektown and eat at Greek restaurants. I mean, we used to buy clothes in Greektown all the time because they had the best hip hop stores.
Right.
I actually, I just will say this. I recently was in Baltimore and I rented a car because my dad still lives there, and I took a different route to the airport to drop off my rental car, and I drove through the hood. Like like I knew that I might be in trouble. Like, you
Like
know,
through
You
Amsterdam.
know, like, man, I'm not supposed to be over here right now.
like I was like, it's 3:00, 3:30 in the morning.
Oh shit.
There's not one. This is also something rough neighborhoods. They just don't even give you electricity. So there's street lamps with no electricity. And I'm like, okay, if someone comes up to me, I'm just going to keep going. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the corner of my eye, I see two street dealers. If I worked on the show today, I would be dressing these guys like this.
Damn.
I've never in my life seen any street wear like this. They were both in black and white, like black and white Air Force Ones, black and white checkered like pants. One had like black pants with like a white stripe down, like an Adidas stripe. The other one had like a football jersey, but it was like all black and white. And then they had this crazy goth hair, which they had so much. It was like black hair, and it had gel in it, and it was like doing this weird thing
What?
on the bangs. Do you know when they take their hair and they like gel it down to
Yeah.
like so it looks like teeth on
Almost
their,
like Jerry curls or like that like spider hair kind of thing. Yeah, I've seen
but
that.
they were big white boys. And I was like, all right, like this is some shit that I've never seen and that I'll never forget it. And it was just that weird drive. And I was like, but that if I worked in movies today, I would be like, we gotta place that. Like,
Yeah. Come
We
with
need
me.
that
You're gonna be
look
in the
somewhere.
show. Like that's the
That's
thing.
funny.
You
Wow.
never like know what, especially in the city. You just never. Every like I, for me and Jesse, we're New Yorkers, so New York City is the one we go, and it's like every time there's we go, there's just something that I'm like I've never seen that before in my life. That's like a whole. There's always just like somebody, like some other thing. I'm like, wow, that is.
I haven't seen that
Yeah.
before.
I mean, I look at homeless all the time because I think they're the most, I mean, like how do you create a homeless look, right?
Right.
You know, and a lot of times it's not what you think, you know, and so
Was Bubbles your favorite character?
I mean, Bubbles, Alonzo, and and Bubs, he really on Andre, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
Andre really is a method actor,
Uh-huh.
and he really like he and Alonso, like that was an interesting, those two really connected,
Wow.
and that was a special relationship, and Alonso wanted to make sure that Andre had everything he needed to be able to breathe that fascination, that like real truth to his character.
That
You guys
word that
go to
you
like.
just said, fascinating.
That is
Bubbles is one of the most fascinating characters in any show ever. Like,
The heart of the show.
Did you guys go to like
And
Goodwill or something, or like what? That's just what I don't know that much about it, so I'm just thinking.
no, because those actors don't want to wear old clothes.
yeah, they
Okay.
want new clothes that are distressed.
I tell you,
I see.
another
Okay.
amazing character to dress was Johnny.
Oh, okay.
That
Johnny.
Leo Fitzpatrick.
Leo Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
he was a phenomenal actor and
Yeah.
just a very mysterious character. I really kind of enjoyed getting to know him, and I think he was really important in the show.
He
Yeah.
was. What was that
Definitely.
movie that you all suggest
Kids.
probably once a month?
Kids. Yeah. Kids.
Kids.
He also appeared in the movie the Larry Clark directed called Bully years later. And
I
Larry
saw them
Clark
there.
made another movie, had James Ransone, who played Ziggy.
Okay.
And talking about his wardrobe, I always liked Ziggy the way he was.
Yes.
He was always had clothes that were like too big, that were kind of raggy for him. You know, kind of just fit his like him as a character. He was very disheveled and unorganized and incompetent, and like his wardrobe
It
matched
fitted.
that. Yeah. And that's one of the great things about the wardrobe is like every character, it's like their wardrobe matches their personality. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Omar specific, like Omar's look is iconic. That long black trench coat,
For
like
sure.
it look like when you just immediately picture him in that outfit, just as like this mysterious rogue character, you know, because it's like that's one great thing I love about costume. It's just like it's not just about what they wear; it's like who they are in that suit. So.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so I guess
Go ahead, Jesse.
Michael K. Williams. I'm sorry for keeping you a little longer. Just
No, I'm fine.
couple. Michael K. Williams stories. Thank you for sharing that. I just wanted to share with you like the other moments we've had with him because it's crazy because everybody has a special connection with him, right? From
Yeah.
Michael Kevin Darnall, who played Brandon, his boyfriend, said that he told him, I think this is going to be special. And he walked up to him and said, I think we should kiss. And Michael Kevin Darnall was like, why do we have to kiss? And he's like, what does it say about gay couples if they always dap each other up and everybody else, all the straight couples are kissing and
There's no
stuff?
love shown.
So he wanted to make a statement with that, right? On Perry Perry said that he lived with Michael K to keep him from his demons, and he would always call him Big Bro. Miss Donna said she called him when she first saw him on Boardwalk Empire. Bob Spore started crying because he remembered going to the meetings with him and said that's what he meant with him. I spoke to Nakia Dillard, who knows Jamie Hector, and Jamie Hector has a school. They said Michael K would just randomly go to the school and talk to the kids out of nowhere just to stop by, just to give
Yeah.
back.
And Chris Clanton,
Chris
Savino.
Clanton. Yeah, so Chris Clanton, thank you, Leland. Savino said that when he had to kill him to make his last time there a little more memorable, that he would like fumble the lines and stuff just so he could enjoy the moment a little longer. And it's like when you hear about this guy, it's it's crazy that he touched all your hearts in a different way. It just amazes me. That's just.
He had the ability, like I said, to see you and you and you, to see who you are inside.
Mm.
And also, if you let him share with you his insight of life, and then he would actually listen to your insight in life, and then there was this amazing connection that had. He just was very humble, but also really wild and like really fun, you
Mhm.
Yeah.
know?
That's beautiful.
So like
He's
you said, so empathetic too. Like he's able, and that's probably that also helped him be such a great actor. He's able to be compassionate, like sympathize with,
Yep.
what people are,
And
especially if you struggled, like you can
yeah.
be more sympathetic to other people in that situation.
And
Totally.
Amanda, just what you said. I mean, if not for Michael K. Williams, we would not have Snoop. And I think from just how impactful her and Chris are what make season 4. I think they take it to another level too. They're very menacing in season 4. But to think that if not for Michael K. Williams, we wouldn't have Snoop in The Wire. That is mind blowing
Yeah.
to me. What?
You wouldn't have had the nail gun scene, It
Yeah,
would've,
man. He like Jesse said, everybody that's come on that spoke about him, even you speaking about him, it's like this person who we see as the audience, who is, man, this is Omar. He's one of the greatest characters ever. He's legendary to the audience, but he was legendary to his cast and his contemporaries in real life. So it's like, damn, that's interesting. His story, like when people break him down and people really get emotional about it. It's amazing to see on camera. When I rewatch our content and rewatch our interviews and you all have these moments with him, it's like, damn, I wish I could have met him once. He touched so many people and he was battling so many demons, but it's like it didn't even really phase him that he had so much going on because I still want to help. I
My
still want
dad
to
met
help
him one
people
time. You said he
no
was like a
matter
really
what.
nice guy.
Yeah, you know. So I'm glad you brought it up, Jesse, because I was going to. So I'm glad you did because it's beautiful to hear you all talk about him. Truly.
Yeah, and all right. So then I'll leave with this because I know we kept you here pretty long, but and then if Jack wants to, I love that shirt. What is it? And can you tell us about your store? Can
Miss
people?
Vanjie.
Miss
So,
Angie.
Miss Vanjie is my favorite drag queen.
Oh,
And she was on RuPaul's Drag Race and was like kicked off like first or second. And it she was not like the rest. And when she got kicked off, she did she backed out and she was like Miss Vanjie.
Oh, I've
She
seen her
was
before. I'm
just
looking at a picture of her right now. Yeah.
but she went on to, even though she got kicked off, she's just been, she's just, she feels like she's from Baltimore, even though
Yeah.
I think she's from Brooklyn. She's just a character. So I love, and I'm a huge drag advocate and fan. And me and my husband go to as many drag shows as we
oh
possibly
wow,
can.
Nice.
wow.
And what's your
Those are a
store?
lot of fun.
Now your store we could walk into
Yeah,
and buy pieces.
you wanna see this crazy? I mean, I don't have any lights on.
No, it's fine.
Let's take a tour.
We're
All
gonna
right.
ask
You want to
you,
give us
Miss
a quick tour?
Amanda.
Tell us the
Yeah,
Yeah,
address
let
and
me see
everything.
if I can figure out how to. Can I flip the camera?
yeah, you should be
You
able
should be
to.
How
able
do
to.
I do that? Whatever, I'll just show you. So this is just the white space. So these are all my resin pieces that I've done. During COVID, I lost my mom,
Oh,
and
yes.
not of COVID, but she died of cancer, and I had a very hard time like staying concentrated, and so I needed to make small work, and so I would go to the dollar store and I would buy all of the stuff that's in there. There's underwear, there's hair, there's
Wow. Glad
eyelashes,
you look.
there's this, I mean, I talk about all of it. And so that's the work I did. This is just it's just a big white space. We're getting ready to hang a show. That's my husband's work. And then we have a big space. So I have an art gallery and boutique in Delray Beach. And I will tell you, I'm still in costumes in my own way. I I print and make all my own fabric,
What?
and I make all these dresses are designed by me, and I love, this is the boutique. It's really,
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
I did the ceiling.
Well, we got to take a
Um
trip now.
so this is
Gotta go to
all,
Florida, y'all.
and then I will tell you, in this other room, I'm sorry I didn't turn on all the lights,
No,
but
it's fine.
my husband is a photographer and a custom framer.
Oh
So
my gosh. What?
so we do all these framing, and then I will just end on this note. All this work behind me, I don't know if you could
Yeah,
see.
we can see it. We can see it.
So that's called Florida Highwaymen, and there are 26 African American painters from the Pierce area in Florida, and they were painting during the Jim Crow era, and
Damn.
they were not allowed to show in galleries. And so my husband started collecting this work in like around COVID, and we've amassed quite a collection, and they were able to keep themselves out of the citrus groves, and be able to support their family by selling their paintings door to door on the highway, and like doctors' offices and lawyers' offices. And now, like, I even think Michelle Obama, there was one woman, and Marianne Carroll is in the White House.
Mhm.
I don't know about anymore. You don't know with that guy what he's doing in there. But so we refurbish and reframe and sell these, and we have like people who come in, and we we educate and teach people about this amazing moment and movement in American history, art history, Black history, Florida history.
Wow. So Amanda, if you wouldn't mind, will you send Jesse the link to your store?
Yep, I
'Cause
certainly
what
will.
What's the address for the people to?
Yeah, give him the link, give him
Sure.
the address. I'll put together like a little description so that all of our long form videos, we plug all of our interviews, all of our interviewee stuff in the description.
Yeah,
Thank
and I
you
gotta say,
so-
just from that brief, that is so much detail there.
Yeah, it
It's
looks
incredible.
phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
it looks phenomenal. Like,
We also carry like a little shepherd fairy, you know, a little street art too, but we really have kind of found our niche. And so it's called Amanda James Gallery because James is my husband and I'm Amanda. And we are at 400 Gulfstream Boulevard, which is Delray Beach, Florida, and it's 33444. And our website is amandajamesgallery.com.
Okay, perfect. I'll get that information from this
Okay.
interview. Jesse, did y'all have any questions before I close out with Miss Amanda?
I gotta say that was amazing, Amanda. Thank you so much for
My pleasure.
joining on. You know, I hope to be able to talk to you again in the future because this is like so much fun. And now we have a place to go when we go to Florida. So you know, and
We get visitors all the time from all over. I mean, right now it's Art Basel. So like everybody's in town for the Miami Art Weekend.
Oh wow.
But
I should be busy then.
You know, it's retail's interesting. Certain times are better. You know, I just don't know. It's our season is really like they call the snowbirds. They come from really this time of year till May, and that's the main part of our business. And I make a lot of I make really fancy cocktail dresses, and
Oh wow.
I mean, I'm still doing wardrobe. It's just it just looks a little different.
Wow. Wow.
Well,
This has been amazing, Miss Amanda. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We
And
appreciate it.
it's really a pleasure to get to know and to be asked. And thank you for taking the time and having me on the show.
Well, thank you for your time, Miss Amanda. And if you wouldn't mind, we have all of our interviewees say this because I'm going to clip up all of you all saying this. I just want you to say, please like, share, subscribe to Wiretapped Truths.
Please like, share, subscribe to Wiretapped Truth.
That's it. That's it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Miss Amanda. It's been a phenomenal interview. We will be bringing you all more content. We will probably release this interview probably in the next 4 days, 5 days, probably. So when you all see this, it'll probably be a week past, you know. So we appreciate it. We just cracked 106,000 views as a channel. So we are very grateful, all the fans. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you want to book us for any voiceover work or any commercial work, feel free to reach out to us or email us at wiretappedtruths@gmail.com.
Yeah. Also, we got to get Leland some of those Ed Hardy hats for the next episode. Right.
That'll be phenomenal. We need a hat sponsor, Jack. Miss Amanda, thank you so much. Blessings to you. Like I said, I have the information in the interview, but you can text Jesse that information too, and I'll plug it in the next video for us for sure.
All right. Well, happy holidays and thanks so much.
You.
Bye.
Blessings. Thank you.